Former American soldier finds Vietnamese lover after 47-year separation. In the chaos of war, people lose more than just lives. They lose time, moments, and sometimes the one person who made everything bearable. This is the true story of David Jones, a former American soldier whose heart never left Vietnam, even after 47 long years. David Jones was just 21 years old in early 1972, stationed at the Binh Thuy Air Base in Con Tho City in southern Vietnam. He wasn't a combat soldier, he was a chef, feeding others on the front lines. But while the bullets missed him, love didn't. She was called Phuong, an elegant, shy Vietnamese girl who worked near the base. David still remembers her vividly: shoulder-length black hair, sparkling eyes that smiled even before her lips did, and a quiet grace that instantly captured his heart. He first saw her while exploring the local markets with a friend. Something about her struck him. He began frequenting the area just to catch a glimpse of her. Eventually, he mustered the courage to speak to her. She was cautious. After all, American soldiers didn't exactly have the best reputation, and Vietnam was a country divided and wounded by war. But slowly, day by day, David earned her trust. They began spending time together: short walks, street food, and quiet conversations under the tropical Vietnamese sun. He was falling for her, completely. She was honest, gentle, and full of life, David says. Everything about her felt real, like a breath of peace in a world of madness. He confessed his love, but Phuong rejected him at first. She feared what all Vietnamese girls feared at the time: that he'd return to the US and forget her, that he'd move on and leave her to bear the burden alone. But over time, she let down her guard. Love has a way of melting even the most careful hearts. They became a couple. They weren't together long, 4 months to be exact, but those 4 months were everything to David. He remembers taking a photo together, her in a white blouse and black pants, smiling with all the innocence of youth. She later gave him a solo portrait, long black hair cascading down her shoulders. He kept it in his wallet for years. Then, just like that, it was over. On April 10, 1972, U.S. forces abruptly shut down their bases. Soldiers were ordered to stay inside, and no goodbyes were allowed. David was trapped inside the base, and Phuong was on the outside, waiting. He never saw her again. When his plane took off from Vietnamese soil, he left his heart behind. A few months later, a letter arrived. It was from Phuong. She'd tried to see him. She had gone to the base, hoping for a chance to say goodbye. She wrote about their memories, about the love they shared, and asked what had happened. David's heart leaped. He immediately replied, but the response never came. "I kept waiting for a letter that never arrived," he said. "I thought she gave up on me, that she didn't care anymore." But deep down, David never believed that. Something always felt off. He clung to hope, enlisting in the U.S. Navy in 1974 just to find a way back to Vietnam. But America's war in Vietnam was ending. There would be no second deployment and no second chance. David returned home. He married and had a daughter. But the marriage didn't last. He raised his daughter alone while continuing his Navy service. He remarried and divorced again. By 2002, he was alone once more. "I never stopped thinking about her," he says. The reunion he thought would never come. In 1994, a devastating loss, David misplaced the letters, photos, and address Phuong had sent him. The only tangible evidence of their love was gone. All he had left were memories and a photo etched into his heart. Then came the internet. In a quiet moment in 2023, David's daughter convinced him to share his story on Facebook. He hesitated. Who would care about a lost love from nearly 5 decades ago? But he wrote anyway. He uploaded a heartfelt post detailing his time in Vietnam, his love for Phuong, and his desperate wish to see her again, if only as an old friend. The post went viral. Thousands of Vietnamese users began sharing his story. People commented, asked questions, and offered help. David was stunned. What started as a personal memory suddenly became a collective mission. "I never thought so many people would care," he says. But they did. They really did. His words were simple, but they struck a chord. He wrote, "Phuong, I do hope you got married to a good man and you are living happily with your family. I wish you peace and happiness. I do not want to disturb your personal life, but I crave a meeting with you again, like an old friend." Thousands read those words. Some cried, some remembered their own lost loves, others began searching. David is now 69 years old, living in Tennessee, but emotionally, a part of him never left Vietnam. He's preparing to return for the first time in 47 years. "I will visit Can Tho again," he says. "The neighborhood where she lived, the places we walked, the streets we laughed on. Maybe they've changed, maybe she has too, but I have to try." He plans to visit Binh Thuy district and Cai Rang, where the old apartment buildings once stood. He knows the odds are slim. She could have moved. She might not even be alive. But for David, the trip is not about guarantees. It's about closure, and maybe, just maybe, a miracle. For years, David believed that Phuong had given up on him, but now he sees the truth. His letter might never have reached her. The postal system was unreliable, especially in wartime. She may have waited for a reply that never came. She may have believed that he had abandoned her. "I've carried that guilt for decades," he says quietly, "but maybe it wasn't either of our faults. Maybe it was just war, and war takes everything." Now, more than ever, David believes in second chances. Not every love story has a tragic ending. Some get paused, delayed, buried under years and fear and silence. But love is persistent. Even time can't kill it. David's daughter, the one who encouraged him to tell his story, still cries when he talks about Phuong. "She's part of you," she told him, "and I want to know her too." For David, this journey is not about reliving the past. It's about honoring it, about reaching across decades and miles to say one final unspoken thing: "I never forgot you." A message to Phuong. If you are watching this, or if someone who knows you is, David is coming back, not to interrupt your life, not to reopen old wounds, but simply to say thank you, and maybe, just maybe, to smile across a table once more, like two old friends who shared something unforgettable. Love never forgets.